Biodiversity is a common good, a valuable legacy formed over the course of millions of years and capital to transmit to future generations. As rightly said by Audrey Azoulay, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. A very good afternoon to all the guests and students. Biodiversity is the living fabric of our planet. It underpins human well-being in the present and in the future, and its rapid decline threatens nature and people alike. The term biological diversity was used first by wildlife scientist and conservationist Raymond F. Dashman, 1968. The term biodiversity was coined by Walter G. Rosen in 1985. Keeping this in view, year 2020 promises to be a super year for global biodiversity governance, environmental decision making, and ultimately for all the life on Earth. This year, the International Day for Biological Diversity on 22nd May 2020 is based on the theme, Our Solutions Are in Nature, and is targeted to raise awareness and build momentum on importance of biodiversity. Against this backdrop, Green Thumb Society organized various competitions, which will in turn be the part of broader commemoration of Biodiversity Week from 18th to 22nd May 2020 at Department of Botany, Postgraduate Government College for Girls, Sector 11, Chandigarh, the NAC accredited Grade A, CGPA 3.52. So for today, the webinar will be conducted in 3 sessions. We now have Ishu.
Good afternoon all, myself Ishu, and my topic is biodiversity and climate change. First of all, introduction. Bio means life and diversity means variety. That means biodiversity represents the sum of various life forms including genes, habitat, and ecosystem. The term was given by Walter G. Rosen in 1986. Then, concept and types of biodiversity. There are various concepts regarding biodiversity. According to Convention on Biological Diversity signed at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 1992 by 154 countries, it is defined as the variability among living organisms from all sources and ecological complexes of which the area part. This includes diversity within species, between species and ecosystem. Then types of biodiversity. There are 3 types of biodiversity: diversity of species, diversity of ecosystem, and diversity of genes. Diversity of species. It is defined as the number of species and their abundance in a particular location. Abundance is the number of individual of each species. Diversity of ecosystem. It includes variation in ecosystem like desert, forest, and wetlands. Diversity of genes. It is the total number of genetic characteristics in genetic makeup of a species. It helps to adapt in environment. Then distribution of biodiversity. In the graph, you can see the number of known species respective to each kingdom. Flora and fauna diversity depends on climate, altitude, soil, and presence of other species. Most of the biodiversity found in tropical region due to favorable conditions. Biodiversity hotspot. These red areas are the hotspot. Hotspot is a region with high biodiversity with most of species being endemic. In India, there are mainly two hotspots, Eastern Himalayan region and Western Ghat. Then ecological services. Ecological services provided by biodiversity such as balance of nature, regulation of climate, degradation of waste, cycling of nutrients, detoxification of soil and sediment, maintenance of soil fertility. Next is threat to biodiversity. Threats are categorized into two categories, natural and anthropogenic. Anthropogenic are man-made. Natural includes narrow geographical area, low population, low breeding rate, and natural disaster. Anthropogenic causes include habitat modification, overexploitation of selected species, for example, xylotum used in labs, innovation of exotic species, for example, eucalyptus and casuarina, pollution, hunting, global warming and climate change, agriculture, and domino effect. Domino effect is also called secondary extinction. For example, if an animal species depend on a plant species, the loss of plant cause the loss of animal. Habitat loss is a major threat to biodiversity. This is the data collected from Living Plant Report 2018, in which 3789 populations were evaluated by Living Plant Index. Now global warming. That is how global warming affect biodiversity. Sun emits radiation of shorter wavelengths like UV, visible, short IR. A part of radiations are reflected back by Earth atmosphere to maintain the temperature of Earth. But if the concentration of greenhouse gases like CO2, nitrous oxide, methane is high in atmosphere, then they trap heat and do not allow longer wavelength to go back and increase the temperature of Earth and leads to change in climate. This is the annual greenhouse gas emission report by different sectors. And this is the worldwide carbon emission in different years. Global warming also affect agriculture. These are the some effect on agriculture. Loss of biodiversity in fragile environment and tropical forest, loss of fertile coastal land caused by rising sea level, increased chances of storm, flood and drought, longer growing season in cool areas, increase in incidence of pest and vector-borne diseases. Long-term fluctuations in weather pattern could have extreme impact on agriculture production, slashing crop yield and forcing farmer to adopt new agriculture practices in response to altered conditions. Now, climate change and polar region. The effect of global warming in polar region include rising air and water temperature, loss of sea ice and melting of ice cap. It also affects wildlife such as for polar bear, the reduction in sea ice is now considered as major threat to their survival. Climate change and wildlife. The health of wildlife and habitat they rely on are interconnected. Change in climate causes change in their breeding pattern. More species at extinction rate. For example, Rhynia, Lepidodendron, and Cooksonia. Marine life also faces challenges from warming water. Next is multiple adverse impact of global warming and climate change on food production. Global warming include heat waves, drought, soil erosion, and tropospheric ozone. Climate change includes seasonal variation, flood, and waterlogged condition. And if the temperature continue to rise, frost-free season will lengthen. Thank you.
We now have Sandesh.
Good afternoon, myself Sandesh Yadav. My topic is conservation of biodiversity. Biodiversity is basically consists of two words. Bio means life and diversity means variety. So biodiversity is the variety of life forms exist on the earth and the essential interdependence of all living organisms. Types of biodiversity are ecosystem, species biodiversity, genetic biodiversity. Ecosystem biodiversity refers to the diversity of a place at the level of ecosystem. It is divided into three types: alpha diversity, beta diversity, and gamma diversity. Species diversity refers to the variety of species within a region, and genetic biodiversity refers to the biodiversity that contain a total number of genetic material present within a single species. Major threats to biodiversity are habitat destruction, habitat loss, introduction of invasive species, climatic change, pollution, disease, exploitation, and poaching. This is the percentage of all these threats. Why we need to conserve biodiversity? First, for protection of existence of living organisms, sustainability of resources, maintenance of air, water, and soil quality, maintaining balance in the natural process of water cycle, temperature, climatic regulation, and growth of different types of animals and plants, maintain the natural scene and tourism, recreation, etc. Conservation of biodiversity. Conservation is a term that is used for protection, upliftment, and scientific management of biodiversity. Basically, there are two methods for conservation: in situ and ex situ. In situ conservation is meant for protection of endangered organism within its natural habitat, and in ex situ there is protection of organisms outside its natural habitat. This is in situ and ex situ conservation are further divided, as in situ is divided as biosphere reserves, national park, wildlife sanctuaries, sacred groves, and lakes. Ex situ conservations are further divided as seed bank, gene bank, cryopreservations, botanical gardens, zoological gardens, and aquarium. In situ conservations. First, biosphere reserves. There are total 18 biosphere reserves in India. The concept of biosphere reserve was launched in 1975 as a part of Man and Biosphere program of the UNESCO. Biosphere reserves are protected areas where all the biological species are given protection and multiple use land is permitted. This area is divided into three zones: core zone, buffer zone, transitional zone. The functions of biosphere are as a conservation, as for development, and as for research and monitoring. Uh, for example, Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. This biosphere reserve was established in 1986 in India. It is situated in the Western Ghat in the Nilgiri Hills of South India. The biosphere reserve is home to large number of flora and fauna. For example, flora include 3,300 species of flowering plant. Out of this, 1 to 3 are endemic. For example, Biolepis is exclusively endemic to NBR. The number of fauna are 100 species of mammals, 50 species of birds, 80 of reptiles, 39 of fish, 31 are amphibians, and innumerous invertebrates. National parks are area of scientific beauty, historical importance that is owned and maintained by national government. A international organization, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, and its World Commission on Protected Areas has defined it as a national park. India's first national park was established in 1936 as Halle National Park. Now it is called as Jim Corbett National Park. National Park provide outdoor recreation and camping opportunities to educate the public on the importance of conservation. There are total 104 national parks all over India. For example, Corbett National Park is located in Uttarakhand. It is one of the best known national park for tigers. The elephant safari inside the park are exciting and give a close and safe trip inside the dense forest. Third, wildlife sanctuary. It is a natural habitat that is owned by the government of private agency that safeguards particular species of birds and animals. In this, there is no capturing, killing, or poaching of animals is allowed. It is a home to various endangered species like Asiatic elephant, the Royal Bengal tiger, the Siberian crane, and the snow leopard. There are total 543 wildlife sanctuaries present all over the world. For example, Parihar Wildlife Sanctuary, Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary. Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary is located in a Bharatpur region of Rajasthan. It was declared as a protected sanctuary in 1971. It is famous for various species of birds and migratory birds like Siberian bird cranes. Fourth hotspot biodiversity are the biogeographical region that is both a significant reservoir of biodiversity and is threatened with the destruction. The term biodiversity hotspot specifically refers to the 25 biological rich areas around the world that have lost at least 70% of their original habitat. Four biodiversity hotspots in India are the Himalayas, the Western Ghats, the Indo-Burma region, and the Sundarland. Sacred groves. Sacred groves are small patches of forest, natural vegetation dedicated by local communities to ancestral spirit or diets and have traditional mean of biodiversity. For example, Ficus religiosa. In ex situ conservation, first is zoological gardens. Zoological gardens are conservation centers where different varieties of animals are protected and housed separately. They also function as a conservation center of organisms which have become extinct in wild. For example, Trivandrum Zoo and Thrissur Zoo. Botanical gardens, these are wild research centers where rare and important plants of diverse species are protected. For example, JNTB GRI at Trivandrum, Malabar Botanical Garden at Kozhikode. Aquarium. Aquarium are meant for educational facilities and captive breeding programs. The World Conservation Union is currently developing captive breeding programs for endangered species. For example, the National Marine Aquarium in southwest England is playing an important role in the conservation of seahorse species through their captive breeding program. Cryopreservation. Cryopreservation is a process which refers to the preservation in the low temperature or in frozen state. It is derived from a Greek word cryos means frost. The term cryopreservation meant storage at very low temperature, such as in deep freezers, minus 80 degrees Celsius, in vapor phase, minus 50 degrees Celsius, or in liquid nitrogen, minus 196 degrees Celsius. Cryopreservation is a long-term storage technique with a very low temperature to preserve the structurally intact living cells and tissues for extended period of time at a relatively low cost. This is the method steps of cryopreservation. First, choice of material. Second, addition of cryoprotectants. Third, freezing. Fourth, storage in liquid nitrogen. Fifth, thawing. And sixth, reculturing. Seventh, vitrification. Eighth, encapsulation and dehydration. Seed bank. Seed bank preserve dried seeds by storing them at a very low temperature. Seedless plants such as tuber crops cannot be preserved in this way. The largest seed bank in the world is Millennium Seed Banks, housed at the Wellcome Trust Millennium Building in London. Gene bank are the collection of DNA samples together with the sample of somatic material of organisms. Gene bank preserve the stock of both seeds and vegetative materials. Some major gene banks in India are National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resource in New Delhi for crop plants and medicinal plants, Tropical Botanical Garden and Research Institute in Palode, TVM for medicinal plants and spices, Central Institute for Medical and Aromatic Plants in Lucknow for medicinal plants and spices, Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow for experimental animals. Thank you.